So, picture this. It's Monday morning. You know, that time of the week where even your coffee needs a coffee. I'm at the office and someone's brought in donuts, but they placed them right next to the printer. The printer? That thing's like the Bermuda Triangle of office supplies. Papers vanish, the ink cartridge always needs replacing, and now it's a donut buffet? And of course, there's always that one coworker who hovers by the printer. They pretend to be engrossed in their phone, but the second you hit print, bam! They're right there. It's a jungle out there, people. But hey, it's all in good fun, right? We laugh, we joke, we share a few, or maybe more than a few donuts. It's all part of that special office ecosystem. But sometimes, even in the most lighthearted environments, there are these little things, these subtle interactions that can leave someone feeling a bit off. And that, my friends, is what we're going to dive into today. We're going to talk about microaggressions, those seemingly small comments or actions that, intentionally or not, can make someone feel excluded, stereotyped, or just plain uncomfortable. You know how sometimes you walk into a room and you can just feel that something's a bit off? Like maybe someone's left a carton of milk out on the counter, or maybe there's just this weird vibe in the air. That's kind of what microaggressions are like. They're these little things, these subtle comments or actions that can create an uncomfortable atmosphere, especially for folks from marginalized groups. Imagine this. You're in a meeting and you share an idea, and then someone says, "Wow, that's surprisingly good." Now, they might not have meant anything bad by it. Maybe they were trying to be complimentary, but that word surprisingly can sting a little. It's like they're saying they didn't expect you to have a good idea in the first place. Or how about this? You're chatting with a coworker, and they ask, "Where are you from?" Again, they might just be curious, but that question implies that you're not really from where you said you were from, that you're somehow different, an outsider. These microaggressions, they're like those tiny pebbles in your shoe. One or two you can probably handle, but when they keep adding up, it can really start to hurt. Now let's be clear, folks. Most of the time, people don't mean to be hurtful. They're not going around with a checklist of microaggressions, trying to ruin someone's day. A lot of these behaviors stem from something called unconscious bias. Unconscious bias is like having a favorite pair of comfy sweatpants. You slip them on without even thinking about it. It's the same with unconscious bias. It's those ingrained beliefs we have about different groups of people, often based on stereotypes we've been exposed to throughout our lives. We don't consciously choose these beliefs, but they're there, lurking in the back of our minds, influencing how we perceive and interact with others. For example, we might unconsciously associate certain professions with certain genders. Like we might picture a surgeon as a man or a nurse as a woman. Or we might unconsciously make assumptions about someone's intelligence or work ethic based on their race or ethnicity. The thing is, these unconscious biases can lead to microaggressions, even when we have the best of intentions. It's like accidentally stepping on someone's foot because you weren't paying attention. It wasn't intentional, but it still hurts. Let's talk about origins, people. No, not the beginning of the universe, although that's fascinating stuff. I'm talking about where we're from, our roots, our heritage. It's a beautiful tapestry, isn't it? So many cultures, languages, and traditions all woven together. But sometimes, even with the best intentions, conversations about origin can take a turn for the microaggressive. You know, those seemingly innocent questions that can actually make someone feel like they don't belong.
Imagine this. You're at a work event, and someone asks, "So where are you from?" You tell them, but they look confused. "No, I mean, where are you from?" they press. Now, maybe they're just trying to make conversation. But that question implies that you're not really from where you said you were from, that you're somehow different, an outsider. It's like they're saying, "You don't look like you belong here." Or how about this? You're sharing a story about your family, and someone says, "That's so interesting. Your culture is so different." Again, maybe they're trying to be complimentary, but that word different can feel othering, like they're highlighting your otherness, making you feel like you're not part of the group.
Imagine this. You're the only woman in a meeting and someone asks you to take notes. Now, maybe they just assumed you were good at taking notes, But that assumption is based on a stereotype, the idea that women are naturally more organized and detail-oriented. Or how about this? You're a person of color who's really good at math and science, and someone says, "Wow, you're so articulate." Again, they might have meant it as a compliment, but that compliment is based on a stereotype, the idea that people of color aren't expected to be articulate or intelligent. Narrator, stereotypes. They're like those persistent telemarketers who keep calling during dinner, even though you've told them a million times you're not interested. They just don't seem to get the hint, do they? We've all encountered stereotypes. They're those oversimplified, often inaccurate beliefs we have about people based on their race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, or any other group identity. They're like those old dusty boxes in the attic filled with outdated ideas and assumptions. And just like those boxes, it's time to unpack these stereotypes and take a good hard look at what's inside. Because here's the thing, stereotypes can be harmful. They can limit our understanding of individuals and perpetuate prejudice and discrimination.
Okay, let's talk about humor. Laughter is important, people. It's the best medicine, they say. It brings us together, lightens the mood, and makes life a little more bearable. But there's a fine line between funny and offensive. Humor is subjective. What one finds hilarious, another might find hurtful. And that's tricky, especially in the workplace.
Imagine this. You're in the break room and someone cracks a joke about a particular race. Even if the intention wasn't malicious, the impact can still be hurtful. Jokes targeting someone's identity can create a hostile work environment.
Let's ensure our humor brings people together, not tears them apart. All right, folks, enough with the heavy stuff. Let's talk solutions, shall we? How do we create a more inclusive workplace? A space where everyone feels seen, heard, and respected.
It's like building a giant, awesome, super inclusive treehouse. But building an inclusive treehouse takes effort, collaboration, and a whole lot of heart.
Here are a few practical tips to make our workplaces more welcoming for everyone. We all have unconscious biases. The first step is to acknowledge them. Next up, let's embrace empathy. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. Listen to understand, not just to respond. By doing so, we can create a more inclusive and understanding workplace. Let's talk about finding your voice. Your voice matters, and it deserves to be heard, especially when it comes to addressing microaggressions.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Ellen, speaking up is scary. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I offend someone? What if they laugh at me? Trust me, I get it.
But here's the thing, silence only perpetuates the problem. So how do we find our voices and speak up in a way that's both assertive and respectful?
First things first, check in with yourself. How are you feeling? It's important to acknowledge your own emotions before addressing the situation. You can calmly and respectfully address the person who made the comment.
Let's talk about kindness, folks. It's like that warm, fuzzy feeling you get when you help an elderly person cross the street, or when you return a lost wallet, or when you let someone cut in front of you in traffic, even though you're late for a very important date, with your couch and a bowl of popcorn. Kindness is contagious. It's like a yawn, but instead of making you sleepy, it makes you want to go out and do something nice for someone else.
And when we practice kindness in the workplace, it creates a ripple effect, spreading positivity and respect throughout the entire organization. Creating a culture of respect starts with small, everyday actions. It's about treating everyone with dignity and courtesy, regardless of their job title, background, or beliefs. It's about celebrating our differences and recognizing that our unique perspectives make us stronger as a team.
Imagine a workplace where people feel comfortable being themselves, where they can share their ideas without fear of judgment, where they feel supported and valued. That's the power of a culture of respect. It's a workplace where everyone feels like they belong, like they're part of something special. So here we are, folks, at the end of our journey. We've laughed, we've learned, and hopefully, we've gained a deeper understanding of how to create a more inclusive and respectful workplace. Remember that office I described earlier, the one with the donuts by the printer and the coworker who always seems to be lurking nearby? Well, imagine that same office, but this time it's different. There's a sense of camaraderie in the air, a feeling of belonging. People are chatting and laughing, sharing stories and ideas. And when someone makes a comment that could be perceived as insensitive, instead of letting it slide, someone gently speaks up, educating their coworker with kindness and understanding. This is the power of awareness, empathy, and action. It's about creating a workplace where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued for who they are. It's about building a workplace where everyone can thrive, contribute their unique talents, and reach their full potential. Let's make our workplaces a reflection of the best versions of ourselves, a place where kindness, respect, and inclusivity reign supreme. After all, a happy workplace is a productive workplace, and who doesn't love a little bit of happiness sprinkled into their workday?